a landlocked nation in the heart of the Balkans. A country of rivers, fortresses, and scars from wars barely a generation old. But behind the medieval castles, Orthodox monasteries, and echoes of Yugoslavia, is a military machine that has quietly rebuilt, modernized, and rearmed. This is not the Serbia you think you know. Because while others in the region are distracted, Serbia drills, innovates, and prepares for the day when Balkan geopolitics boil over again. So buckle up. Because Serbia's military power is sharper, faster, and more ambitious than most people realize. And in the Balkans, that matters. This is the story of the Serbian armed forces, the rising power of the Balkans, geography and strategic position. Let's start with geography. Serbia doesn't live in a quiet cul-de-sac. It's boxed in by NATO members on nearly every side. Hungary to the north, Romania to the east, Bulgaria to the southeast, Croatia and Montenegro to the west, and Bosnia and Herzegovina in the middle of it all. And in its south, Kosovo, a frozen conflict that could ignite any day. In other words, Serbia is surrounded by pressure. But while most small countries would fold, Serbia has chosen a different path, building a defense force designed to survive and punch back against stronger neighbors. Because peace is nice, but resilience? That's better. The Serbian Army, ground forces. Serbia's army isn't just about numbers. It's about toughness, tradition, and terrain. With around 28,000 active personnel and 50,000 in reserve, the Serbian army isn't huge compared to NATO powers. But it is battle-hardened. These are troops that trace their legacy back through the Yugoslav wars of the 1990s, guerrilla conflicts in Bosnia and Kosovo, and even the NATO air campaign of 1999. In short, Serbia's soldiers are veterans of a region where war has never been theory, it has always been reality. While some armies train in controlled exercises, Serbian soldiers are used to defending towns under bombardment, patrolling rugged Balkan mountains, and adapting to hybrid warfare where militias, insurgents, and foreign powers blur the battlefield. That experience makes them uniquely suited for modern conflict. Let's break down their core strength. Special brigades. These aren't just elite troops. They are Serbia's spearhead. Airborne paratroopers who drop behind enemy lines, commandos trained in sabotage, and reconnaissance units that can vanish into forests and mountains. Their drills include urban warfare in ruined towns, river crossings under fire, and counter-terror operations in villages. Their motto is simple: first in, last out. Armored brigades. Serbia still operates the M84 main battle tank, a Yugoslav derivative of the Soviet T-72, but don't let the age fool you. Belgrade has poured resources into modernization. These tanks now feature digital fire control, laser rangefinders, modern thermal sights, and reactive armor plates. On Balkan battlefields, where mobility and survivability matter more than sheer numbers, the M84 remains a predator. And Serbia is experimenting with unmanned ground vehicles and upgraded infantry fighting vehicles like the Lazar APC to give armored units even more flexibility. Mechanized and infantry brigades. Serbia's infantry are trained for both defensive trench warfare and mobile strike tactics. They rely on domestically built Lazar 3 armored carriers and Miloš light armored vehicles, designed to survive IED blasts and ambushes. In urban warfare scenarios, likely in places like Mitrovica or southern Kosovo, these vehicles give Serbian troops the edge in speed and protection. Artillery and rockets. Here is where Serbia terrifies its neighbors. It fields some of the heaviest artillery concentrations in the region. Legacy 152mm howitzers are now joined by the Nora B-52 self-propelled howitzer, capable of precision strikes at over 40 kilometers. The Playman and Oganj multiple rocket launchers provide saturation fire, while Serbia's crown jewel, the Sumidija rocket system, fires modular ballistic missiles with ranges of up to 285 kilometers. For a small country, that's strategic reach. A single battery could shut down air bases or logistics hubs deep inside a neighbor's territory. Air defense within the army. Unlike many regional militaries, Serbian ground forces integrate anti-air assets into their brigades. The Pazer's 16 hybrid system, combining 40mm Bofors guns with surface-to-air missiles, ensures Serbian armor and infantry columns aren't sitting ducks for NATO drones or low-flying jets. Engineering and logistics units. Often overlooked, Serbia's army engineers are trained to repair bridges, clear mines, and restore supply routes, vital in a region crisscrossed by rivers and rugged passes. The Balkans reward armies that can adapt terrain to their advantage, and Serbian engineers have decades of experience in exactly that. What makes the Serbian army different is its total doctrine. It doesn't expect to outnumber NATO or overwhelm with technology. Instead, it prepares to fight asymmetrically, persistently, and on home ground. Mountains, rivers, forests, and cities all become part of Serbia's battlefield. And every soldier is trained to fight until the last bullet. For a Balkan neighbor, that's not just deterrence. That's intimidation. That's a warning. Invading Serbia isn't just about defeating tanks, it's about fighting a nation that has turned its landscape into a fortress. Air power, Serbia's shield. Now let's talk sky supremacy. The Serbian Air Force and air defense may not be the largest in Europe. With just around 60 combat aircraft, it is a fraction of NATO's air fleets. But numbers don't tell the whole story. Serbia plays a different game: efficiency, resilience, and layered defense. For Belgrade, the skies above are not just airspace. They're sacred ground, scarred by the memories of 1999 when NATO jets pounded bridges, power plants, and barracks. Every Serbian pilot since then has trained with a single idea: never again will our skies be undefended. The jets, sharp claws of a small force. MiG-29 Fulcrums, the crown jewels of Serbia's air fleet. These Soviet-designed fighters were gifted and upgraded by Russia and Belarus. With modernized radars, electronic warfare systems, and beyond visual range missiles, they're not museum pieces, they're hunters. Fast, agile, and deadly in dogfights, MiG-29s remain Serbia's frontline shield. MiG-21s and J-22 Oryos, legacy platforms that date back decades. While no longer cutting edge, these aircraft are still useful for ground attack missions, reconnaissance, and training. In a conflict, they free up MiG-29s for air dominance while providing constant pressure on enemy supply lines. New acquisitions, Rafale rumors. Here's the game changer. Serbia has been actively negotiating for French Rafale multi-role fighters. Jets that can do everything: precision strike, electronic warfare, and air superiority. If Rafales join Serbia's air fleet, the balance of power in the Balkans tilts overnight. Suddenly, Serbia wouldn't just defend its skies, it could project power deep into hostile territory with pinpoint accuracy. Pilots, elite guardians. Technology is only half the battle. Serbia's edge is its pilots. Serbian aviators train for war at home, not hypotheticals abroad. They fly low through river valleys, practice takeoffs from makeshift runways and highways, and drill under electronic jamming to prepare for NATO-style attacks. These aren't pilots who expect comfortable bases and endless supplies. They expect bombardment, blackouts, and chaos. And they know how to fly and fight even when the odds are stacked against them. The Sky Shield, layered air defense. What makes Serbia's air power truly formidable is not just its aircraft, it's the wall of defenses on the ground. Pantsirus 1, Russia, a hybrid of anti-aircraft guns and surface-to-air missiles, designed to swat drones, helicopters, and jets at low and medium altitudes. NATO pilots know this system. It's the same one that has bloodied air forces in Syria and Ukraine. FK-3 SAMS, China, a long-range surface-to-air missile system modeled after the HQ-22, capable of engaging targets at up to 100 kilometers. Serbia is the only European operator of a major Chinese SAM system, a reminder of Belgrade's balancing act between East and West. Pazers 16, domestic, a Serbian hybrid system that combines a 40mm Bofors gun with missiles, flexible, mobile, and designed to shield advancing troops. Together, these create a layered air defense net. Low, medium, and long range. Guns, missiles, and radar. For NATO, it means one thing: any air campaign against Serbia would face a gauntlet of fire. Doctrine, survival in the skies. Serbia's air doctrine isn't about overwhelming superiority. It's about denial, survival, and counterpunching. Dispersed airfields. Serbia maintains hidden or improvised landing strips, ensuring jets can scatter and survive the first strike. Camouflage and decoys. Lessons from 1999 taught Serbia how to trick advanced bombers. Fake tanks, dummy radars, and even decoy jets confuse and waste enemy munitions. Shoot and scoot. Air defense batteries relocate constantly, forcing enemy pilots to face moving threats. The message is clear: dominating Serbian airspace isn't a quick mission, it's a costly war of attrition. The future of Serbian air power. Looking ahead, Serbia is investing in drone warfare. Chinese Siege-92A UAVs and domestically built Pegasus drones extend Serbia's eyes and claws into the sky. Western technology. The Rafale deal would bring NATO-grade capabilities. Electronic warfare. Systems designed to jam GPS, disrupt communications, and blind incoming missiles. For a country of just 7 million, this is extraordinary. Serbia doesn't want to rival NATO, but it wants NATO to think twice. Domestic defense industry, made in Serbia. Here's where Serbia really flexes: indigenous weapons production. Unlike many small nations that rely entirely on imports, Serbia inherited a massive defense industry from Yugoslavia. And it's still alive, producing weapons that not only equip Serbian troops but also sell abroad. Zastava Arms, maker of the iconic Zastava M70 AK variant rifles. Nora Artillery Systems, sold to multiple countries, known for long-range precision. Lazar and Miloš armored vehicles, modern 8x8 and 4x4 troop carriers designed for mobility and mine resistance. Sumadija rockets and Alas missiles, indigenous systems that can tip the balance in regional conflicts. This homegrown arsenal gives Serbia strategic independence. If sanctions or war cut supply lines, Serbia can still arm itself. Navy, a landlocked surprise. You might laugh, Serbia is landlocked. No navy, right? Not quite. Serbia still operates a river flotilla on the Danube and Sava rivers, one of the largest river combat forces in Europe. Patrol boats, minesweepers, and amphibious units ensure control of vital waterways and supply routes. In Balkan history, rivers often decide wars. Serbia knows this better than anyone. Cyber and drones, future war. Not all wars are fought with tanks and jets. Serbia is investing in cyber warfare units and drone technology. Indigenous Pegasus drones for surveillance and strike. Joint projects with China for combat UAVs. Cyber defense units trained to disrupt enemy communications and protect infrastructure. For a small country, Serbia punches above its weight in future warfare. Geopolitics, balancing East and West. But military hardware is only half the story. Serbia's real power is in geopolitics. Unlike its NATO neighbors, Serbia plays a balancing act between Russia, China, and the European Union. From Russia, it gets military aid, MiG upgrades, and Panzer systems. From China, it buys drones and air defenses. From Europe, it seeks investment, trade, and legitimacy. Serbia's strategy is clear: stay non-aligned, maximize leverage, and make everyone need you. In the Balkans, where loyalties shift like mountain weather, that's not just survival. That's power politics. The Kosovo factor. Of course, no talk of Serbia's military can avoid Kosovo. For Serbia, Kosovo isn't just disputed territory. It's unfinished history. A wound that never healed from 1999. Tensions flare regularly. NATO troops still patrol. And every Serbian soldier trains with one thought in mind: if Kosovo explodes, Serbia must be ready. This isn't abstract. It's personal. Families divided, villages lost, and national pride on the line. That's why Serbia invests in rockets, tanks, and jets, not for faraway wars but for the one conflict that could reignite on its doorstep. Nuclear? Not yet, but strategic deterrence is real. Serbia doesn't have nuclear weapons, but it doesn't need them to be a regional deterrent. Its combination of artillery, rocket systems, and layered air defenses means any neighbor thinking of war knows the price would be steep. And Serbia makes sure everyone sees its military drills, reminding the Balkans that Belgrade won't be pushed around. Resilience, the real power. Here's the real strength of Serbia's military: resilience. This is a country bombed by NATO just 25 years ago. Its economy shattered, its military dismantled. And yet it rebuilt. Slowly, steadily, with grit. Today, Serbian soldiers are battle-tested. Its people are nationalistic and proud. Its doctrine is clear: Serbia doesn't seek war. But if war comes, it will not bow. The Balkan power. So next time someone dismisses Serbia as just a small Balkan state, remind them it's also a military that survived NATO's onslaught and came back stronger. A weapons industry that arms nations worldwide. A balancing power between East and West. And a people with history carved into their bones, who fight hardest when cornered. Serbia may not be a global superpower, but in the Balkans it's the power. And that's what makes its army one of the most underestimated forces in Europe. So hit that like button if you learned something new. Subscribe if you want more military deep dives like this. And remember, never underestimate quiet strength, especially when it wears a double-headed eagle. Until next time, stay smart, stay vigilant, and never pick a fight with the Balkans.